Hello and welcome to God and Country. I hope you guys are having a good day. Hope things are going well for you. And here we are, nearly 1 week since we had the most important election of our lifetime. And I have with me in studio today my sister-in-law. I've known her for a little while and called her Juju, but today I'm going to try to call her Julianne.
That's
And
okay.
so,
You can call me Juju Dan. It's fine.
all right, so we'll see how we'll see how things roll. But today, as I had on the screen earlier, it is Veterans Day, and I just want to say to all of our veterans out there, thank you very much. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for standing and fighting for liberty. The reason why we can have podcasts like we have, and the reason why we can enjoy church, and the reason why we can enjoy the religious liberty, the reason why we can enjoy all of the things that we get to enjoy here in what I believe is the greatest country in the world, it is because of you. And we say thank you. We honor you, and we appreciate your sacrifice, and not just your sacrifice, but also the sacrifice of your families. We know that when you go overseas, we know that whenever you go to war, whenever you go to the front lines, we know and we understand that yes, it is you that is there, but you're leaving children, you're leaving your wife, your husband, you're leaving moms and dads, brothers and sisters. You're leaving them behind. And we think not just a veteran, but we also thank the family. And so today we just want to say thank you and we honor you. And Juju, I want to ask you a question about Veterans Day. Tell us a little bit about your favorite veteran.
Well, that's an easy question. For me, it is my grandfather, Granville Shaw Crane. He's passed away now just a couple years ago, but definitely my favorite veteran. The coolest story ever. Honestly, it's an incredible story, and a lot of people don't know it. So it's pretty awesome. He was a survivor on the USS Indianapolis. 317 men survived, 880 men died, and they basically ended World War II. So they brought the first atomic bomb over to the Philippines, which was eventually dropped on Hiroshima. They had no idea what was on their ship at the time, but they ended up out in the water for 5 days and 5 nights. So,
You know, Papa Crane, he is now in heaven, but he is Julianne's, he is my wife Jackie and Jenny and Johnny. He is their grandpa, and of course he's their favorite veteran. And boy, I appreciate him. I appreciate the opportunity to get to meet him and talk to him. And he, along with many other of those men and women that was on that ship, spent 5 days, as Julianne said, in the water. And it's because of men like him that we can enjoy the freedoms that we have. You know, whenever you think about the sacrifice that they made, the Bible says that there is no greater love than if a man lay down his life for his friends. And that's what many thousands and thousands of our military men and women have done for us so that we can enjoy our freedom. And so if you haven't already thanked a veteran today, I want to encourage you to thank a veteran. I want to encourage you to reach out, you know, to some of the veterans that you know. I know the very first thing that I did this morning when I woke up, outside of prayer and kissing my wife good morning and reading my Bible and things of that nature, talking to my children, I text several veterans that I know personally, and I thank them, you know, for fighting for our country. And so I really appreciate our veterans. We are here on God and Country. And if you have not already subscribed to our channel, if you haven't already liked it on Facebook or shared it, I would encourage you to do so. It really helps us get around the algorithm that a lot of these social media giants don't like. They don't like it whenever our message gets out. And so they want to try to suppress us as much as they possibly can. I do want to show you this, and we talked about this last week, and that was your vote counts. And, you know, one of the things that, unfortunately, that a lot of people bit into, the lie that many people have bitten into, was that their vote didn't count. And I'm so thankful that millions of Christians and millions of conservatives overcome that narrative and went to the polls and voted, because the truth is, your vote does count. And so as we saw last week, your vote does count. And Julianne, I want to ask you a question. Of course, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. But
I always want to answer these type of questions.
so who did you? So when you went into that voting booth, and did you have a hard time figuring out who you was going to vote for, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Did you have a hard time figuring out who?
Zero issues with this, and I had 4 kids running around. Okay, I brought all 4 kids with me to vote.
Awesome.
And I thought, you know what better way to show them, you know, by example, like how we do this. And, you know, most of the time my kids distract me, But I had zero distraction on that day. I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew exactly who I was voting for. So no problem there whatsoever.
So did you vote for
Trump all the
Donald
way.
Trump? Oh,
Trump all
okay.
the
I was
way.
getting nervous because you hadn't answered it, and so I thought maybe you got into that
If I
voting
voted for
booth.
Kamala, I would have shaved my head by now. So you would have already known that.
If
so.
you would have voted for Kamala, you wouldn't be sitting in
Okay,
that chair.
answer this. Is it Kamala or Kamala? So everybody's wondering.
I call her Commie. I called her Commie Harris. And so that was a nickname I gave her because, I mean, when you look at the policies of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, I mean, good gosh. I mean, some of the things that they stood for. I mean, Tim Walz wanted to put tampons in guys' bathrooms. I mean, what kind of ridiculous policy is that?
Just a waste of time.
I mean,
It's wasting our
absolutely.
time.
I mean, somebody needs to send him back to school and teach him about the body, you know, of a man and of a woman. And then some of the issues that Kamala Harris and some of her policies, I mean, these people are just, they would absolutely shipwreck our country.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you look at the border and the millions of people coming across the border illegally. I mean, just the things that as a president, you know, and especially if you have an America First agenda, I mean, the president, I mean, that is something that he should be doing or she should be doing, and that is fighting for America, and that is fighting for all citizens. One thing that they said was if you vote for Donald Trump, then he's going to take away women's rights. So my question to you is, what rights have you lost as a woman since Donald Trump has been president?
I think I feel a lot safer since Donald Trump
Oh, really?
got elected.
Really?
So for me, whenever I'm voting, number one, I'm always thinking about the rights of the unborn. So that's my biggest thing. I don't feel very secure with Kamala Harris. I feel like I don't have a lot of confidence in her securing my rights as a woman. Also border control. So that to me is huge, to feel safe in my own home, to not wonder if I'm going to get attacked by gang members when I walk out of the door, when my kids walk down the street to go play at a park. I feel a lot safer. So for me, it was an easy decision. So
Yeah. So, you know, I have this picture, and this is beautiful because this really shows the media, what they want you to believe, and then it shows the reality. And so when you look at this picture, you see a lot of blue, and then you see a little red. But when you look at the reality of it, the reality of America is not nearly as divided as what the media wants you to think. They want you to think that America is divided, and they want you to think that America is divided in a mighty way. But the truth of it is, America is not divided. When you look at the whole country. Now, if you go and drill down into certain cities, yeah, I mean,
the
they're
big cities.
yeah, they're going to be blue. But whenever you look at like this map, where 86%, they have better covers than Verizon. I mean, whenever you look at that map, and it's 86.72% red, and then 13.28% blue, we're not nearly as divided as what they want you to
I mean,
think.
didn't he get all 7 swing states?
All seven.
So
All seven, 312 electoral votes. And I mean, he did very well, very well. You know, a lot of people have been talking about how, you know, Donald Trump, if he's elected, you know, he's going to take away, you know, the rights of women. But since he's been elected, I got to show you this is Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, and I hope I've said her name correctly. She is an awesome lady. She is a congresswoman from New York, and upstate New York, and her spot it goes all the way up to the Canadian border, and so Congresswoman Stefanik was down here on the coast about 2-3 weeks ago, and I was able to go and have lunch with her and listen to her speak. And I mean, she did an amazing job. Well, President Trump appointed her as ambassador to the UN. So when you look at that, you say, well, he's not degrading women, he is elevating women, because here he is appointing her as a UN ambassador. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think there was ever a question. I think that the media tries to construe things to make you think that he's anti-woman or that he hates women or we're going to lose our vote to our right to vote or our right to. I mean, it's crazy the stuff that women are coming out here and saying. Like they're absolutely making up just complete lies. And they're saying that, I mean, first of all, they're scared to have kids now. There's women out there that are legitimately afraid to get pregnant, thinking they're going to die on the table from an ectopic pregnancy, which could possibly happen, but not because a pro-life law is restricting that at all.
Right.
At all. So for me, I feel like there's just a lot of lies out there that the media is trying to misconstrue. And I mean, Trump's never given us any reason to think that he's anti-woman or that he hates women or he's unwilling to work with women. So yeah, it's just a lie.
And this has to be my favorite because the United States of America has never had a woman as chief of staff. We've never had a woman president, and we've never had a chief of staff for the president of the United States as a woman. But here you are, Donald Trump appoints Susie Wiles, the first woman chief of staff. Now, she's awesome. I mean, if you've ever been around her or listened to some of the things that she says, I mean, she is awesome, and she's going to do an amazing job. I mean, she is going to make the United States of America proud. I mean, she's going to be a fighter for life, a fighter for liberty, and a fighter for the pursuit of happiness. And that's what you want. You want people in D.C., you want people in these positions that are going to fight for what we believe in. And here you have Susie Wiles, the first woman as chief of staff. And so, Juju, that once again goes back to what you were saying a while ago, how the media wants to misconstrue and wants the American people to think, oh, Donald Trump's against women, and he's going to degrade women, and he's not going to elevate women. But that's all he's done since he's been president. He's been elevating women to different positions of authority. Susie Wiles now the chief of staff. That's all he's done is elevate women. To me, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah. Well, what was Kamala Harris doing to protect women when they were getting, like I said before, like attacked by gang members from all the just illegal immigrants coming across our borders? What is she doing to protect us? So that's what scares me a little bit, is just knowing that, like, I feel like the media is going to make it seem like she's out to protect women, but she's not protecting women. Just by leaving the border open in general, I already feel so much safer knowing he's going to implement border control. But like you said, he's not afraid to. Trump's not afraid to handle women. He's not afraid to hire women. So I'm excited to see what happens there, and can't wait to watch it happen. Can't wait to watch it unfold.
Oh yeah, here's another one of Donald Trump's hires. He's going to put Kennedy over the Department of Health.
They can't even define what a woman is. So how can they tell us anything about women's rights? Look at this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And so that's the Department of Health for 2021. And I cannot wait.
Let's go, RFK Jr. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I cannot wait for Kennedy to step in and to take over the Department of Health. I mean, whenever you look at the things that are coming down, when you look at vaccines, whenever you look at, all of the things that Department of Health is pushing, and this large part because of this, I don't want to get into name calling, but whenever you look at who Joe Biden and Kamala Harris picks to be over the Department of Health, you have to have some serious issues, whenever you're going to pick someone like that to be over the Department of Health. And so I am looking forward to Kennedy taking over the Department of Health. So let's talk about that for a few moments. Oh, I've got to show this one more because this has probably been my favorite. Is when you look at Kennedy, who was a Democrat, he ran independent, but everybody knows that him and his family, are strong Democrats, been Democrats forever. But then you had Kennedy running as an independent, and then he joined Donald Trump's team, and so you had the Republicans and Democrats uniting against some of this evil, and some of this evil starts with the Department of Health and some of these vaccines, that they are pushing on, these children. And so let me ask you a question about these vaccines. Are we over-medicating our children? Whenever you look at, all of these vaccines that they are pumping into our children, are we over-medicating our children? And from a mom's perspective, and you're a mother, you have, a family, you have several children. As a mother's perspective, are we over-medicating our children? And do you want the federal government telling you as a mother what you should or should not be putting inside your children?
Well, you said it right. I'm just a mom, right? So what do they say? A worried mom does more research than the FBI. But
Absolutely.
But truly, I think a lot of people give a bad rap to moms in these Facebook groups or mom researching. But since when are we supposed to be criminalized or demonized for researching products that are going into our kids' bodies? It's been criminalized. Like we are crazy for asking questions. You will get kicked out of your pediatrician's office for even asking, is this safe? Okay, there's a lot of things that are just not talked about. So I have a backup. I have a question just in response to that question is, do you think our country's healthier than it was 40, 50 years ago?
No.
Okay,
not at all.
so 1 in 36 kids have autism. 1 in 2 or 3 people are going to get a cancer diagnosis. Okay, so diabetes, asthma, allergies, brain development, like it's an epidemic in my mind. So they're worried about COVID. I get that, but there's so many other things that we should be focusing on. And a big one for me is when I had kids, I knew nothing. I knew nothing whenever I had kids. I have 4 kids now. None of them have been vaccinated. And if you know my kids, they get their common colds. They get sick. They've never been on antibiotics. They've never had ear infections. And if they get an ear infection, we treat it naturally. And does that mean I'm a crazy person that doesn't believe in healthcare or believe in taking my kids to the hospital? No. But I do think we should be researching. So a few years ago, if you even look at my dad's immunization records. He had 3 shots when he was a kid. Okay, I
Wow.
had 7. Do you know how many they want you to have before you're 18 now?
There's no telling.
70 shots.
Good night.
Okay. And these kids, their parents think, oh, well, my kid's only getting 1 or 2 at the doctor's office, but they're just giving you a bunch in one shot. Okay. You're getting 5 or 6 shots in one. So you're needing 70 shots by the time you're 18, according to their recommended schedule, which is on the CDC's website, by the way.
Wow.
And the FDA, they put okay, all these .gov, documents, you can look it up actually. If you follow just the inserts, I definitely recommend, if you're starting out and you're brand new, you're a mom or a dad that has questions, follow just the inserts on Instagram. She's got a book. She's got all kinds of information on how to research these vaccinations, because a lot of people just don't know how to do it. Okay. So you can actually enter any medication. It doesn't matter what it is, be it Adderall, Cytotec, whatever. Cytotec/FDA insert after the drug name. And then look it up. Look for the .gov documents, and you will be able to see all the black box warnings on everything. I've got one pulled up right here if you want to see it. This is for Cytotec, okay? So this induces labor. This induces labor for a woman that's going in the hospital. Okay, I'm going to read some, and this is just straight off their website. You have to really, you would think like it would be just common knowledge, but you have to dig for this information, okay? So the effect of Cytotec on later growth, development, and functional, okay, hold on. The use of Cytotec for the management of postpartum hemorrhage has been associated with reports of high fevers, accompanied by autonomic and central nervous system effects such as tachycardia, disorientation, agitation, convulsions. Okay, this even says right here that it can cause fetal death. So this is a medication they're giving women that are every single day that are going in the hospital to induce labor, can cause fetal death. It's right here on the .gov website. So all I recommend is just to do your research and just to read the .gov documents that they're putting out there on the websites.
You know, I think that's one of the biggest things a lot of parents and just people in general fail at, and that is not researching to know what is going inside of our children's bodies. I mean, God gave them to us, right? I mean, those are our children. And God did not give our children to the federal government to raise. God gave them to me to raise. Mm-hmm. And so whenever it comes to their health, whenever it comes to their education, whenever it comes to anything about our children, we as parents need to be involved. We need to be engaged. We need to know what's happening. We need to know what's going on. And Julian's right. We need to be researching and know what is happening, know what is being put in your body. I know a lot of people, whenever it came to COVID, they just took the vaccine and didn't even research and see what was even in the COVID vaccine. And now I haven't taken the COVID vaccine, and I'm not even sure if I've even had COVID. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But the point is, you need to know what's going on in your body. Mm-hmm. And it would be a snowing in hell before I have any federal government telling me what I have to do whenever it comes to my children or even my own body. Listen, I pay their rent for their home they live in. I pay for their light bill. I put the food on the table. I put their clothes on their back. I mean, I'm taking care of all of those things. And by God, I'm going to take care of it whenever it comes to their health. And I'm not letting Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, or anybody else in the federal government tell me what I should or should not be doing with my children. And those are just the facts. And so we as parents, we must be studying and engaged in what is happening in our children. I do believe this, Juju, that whenever it comes to transparency in the healthcare system and with healthcare policies, I do not think that our government is as transparent as what they should be. And I'm really hoping that is something that Kennedy does. I'm really hoping that Kennedy comes in and he really...
So far, it's looking pretty good. I mean, I think he's just going to hold them accountable. At least just hold them accountable and start, cleaning house, just getting people out of there that are just in it for the money, to be honest. I think women just don't know who to trust. Can we trust the FDA? Can we trust the CDC? Can we trust who? Do I trust anything the FDA says? Absolutely not. Do I trust the food that's on my shelves? We should, at the very least. Most people are getting their food from Walmart, let's be honest. Can we trust the food on the shelves? Can we trust it? Not to have GMOs, bleach, preservatives, microplastics, glyphosate. Can we trust them to put food out there that's healthy for us? I mean, I think RFK is going to clean house. I think that I trust him a little bit more than I trust these whack jobs here that Kamala Harris or Joe Biden had in office or had in charge of the Department of Health.
So you're telling me that you trust the person that Donald Trump is putting in 2025 over this, that?
Just a little bit. And actually, you know what? I think that he was a game changer for Trump a little bit, because a lot of the moderates, I mean, to be honest with you, conservatives are not always the healthiest bunch. Like sometimes that's one thing that like liberals are known for. Maybe they are a little bit more cautious with their health. They take care of their bodies. You know, a lot of people make fun of like these old conservative fat guys that have just been just sitting around eating all day long. Okay, that's not always the case, but I will say that liberals, a lot of them are healthy and do care. So when it comes to moderates, people that weren't decisive on who to vote for, RFK may have changed the game for them. Elon Musk, maybe Joe Rogan, some others, but for sure, I think it was a game changer having him on board.
Yeah, I think that Kennedy coming out, I think Kennedy was a game changer for sure among moderates, and especially a lot of your independents. I think Joe Rogan was for sure a game changer whenever it comes to
a little late in his endorsement, but
yeah, but he does have the largest podcast, you know, in the world, and I think they had over 40+ million people watch.
guys are changing their votes. They said,
Yeah.
I mean, after Joe Rogan came out and endorsed, so
Yeah, and so that's
Crazy.
huge.
Yeah.
And so I think Joe Rogan made a huge thing. I think Elon Musk made a dramatic difference whenever it comes to not just Elon Musk endorsing, but the money that Elon Musk put behind Trump. I think that was a game changer because it does take, you know, a lot of money. I think that Tulsi Gabbard coming out and endorsing, excuse me, I think that she made a huge difference as far as, you know, women coming out and supporting Donald Trump. But I also think that Kamala Harris was just a bad candidate.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she was just bad. I think that her policies were bad. I think that Tim Walz was bad. And so I want to ask you another question. Let's jump into natural things that people, you know, can do naturally to help them whenever it comes to their health. You know, so let's explore a few alternatives whenever it comes to natural immunity. And so maybe talk about that for just a few moments.
Yeah. So I think people, you know, call crunchy moms crazy or whatever, but I mean, to me, like, the proof is there. So I've been experimenting and just, you know, trying different things. The good thing about natural ingredients is they're not going to hurt you too much, right? So like when you're experimenting, and you could say all day long experimenting on your kids, what in the world? But that's exactly what the CDC is doing when they're putting untested drugs or untested vaccines into kids' bodies. What is it, like 3? I think they're wanting 6-month-olds to have 3 COVID shots by now, by the time they're 6 months old. So,
Wow.
I mean, but with natural immunity, there's so many things you can do. And I'm not talking about synthetic vitamins from Walmart shelves, okay? So, I mean, that's a start. But I would say, like, just in the food we eat in general, if you can't make any other changes besides cutting out processed food, you're going so far. I know there's a lot of things. There's a lot of different trends. Now you're hearing about seed oils being the devil or whatever. But if you look at McDonald's, okay, McDonald's used to fry their potatoes in beef tallow. And what are they doing now? Seed oils, right? So I get it. They're trying to save $1. But I mean, I'm sorry, but you just won't find me in the McDonald's drive-thru very often, or the, you know, like Little Caesars. We love Little Caesars every now and then, but I'm telling you, it is not the everyday.
Now, Donald
occurrence.
Trump loves McDonald's.
I know he does. He worked there.
Matter of fact, he even worked there, you know. So he fixed their ice cream machine.
He's on board with McDonald's. That's one place. That's one area we differ. But no.
So I've got I've been to McDonald's a few times since Donald Trump worked there.
We're talking to the wrong person. This guy drinks like a gallon of sweet tea a day. Okay, goes to Krispy Kreme at midnight and eats Oreos. No, but
that's right.
All that stuff has a place. But on the everyday, okay, what your kids are putting into their bodies, it's so important. So natural immunity. I mean, let's just talk sunshine. These are easy things.
Yeah.
I'm not talking things that you have to go and change everything. It's taken me a decade to really get to where I'm at right now. But when you're switching out a bottle of soap, or when you're switching out a tube of toothpaste, okay, do it when you're already switching it out, when you're already having to buy new. Buy toothpaste without fluoride. I mean, there's fluoride in our drinking water, okay? So RFK saying he's going to request that they remove fluoride from our drinking water. These are just common knowledge things that we should not be drinking heavy metals in our water. So do we have the right, okay, let's talk about women's rights. Do we have the right to drink
Speaking of
clean?
sweet tea.
Yes. Look, he's got sweet tea. I've got water. Okay. But do I have the right to drink clean drinking water? I should. I should have the right to drink clean drinking water. So those are some things. I mean, you can do. Walk out in the sunshine. Get vitamin D, vitamin C. These are things that you can do to fight COVID. Okay. One thing I do for my kids when they have ear infections, which, by the way, chronic ear infections are completely tied to vaccinations and over-medicating your children. And antibiotics are for sure causing your ear infections to be recurring. But try garlic, try onions. There's so many things that are actually good for you to do when your kids are sick. Yeah, there's a lot. There's elderberry in the wintertime. You can take elderberry all throughout the winter. Me and my kids take elderberry. You don't have to make it, okay? You can buy it from a reputable source. Be careful where you get your supplements. I think we over supplement as well, not just over medicate. I think we over supplement when a lot of it is just missing from our food, our soil, things that I hope RFK is gonna fix. So.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching and see when he does. If you haven't already subscribed to God and Country, I would encourage you to do so. Of course, as I say many, many times, it helps us get around the social media giants algorithms, because they don't want shows like this to get out. They don't want a lot of people to see, this show. And the reason is because we're conservatives. And so whenever conservatives are talking and people are listening, it hurts their agenda. And so, as we said at the beginning of the show, but we want to say it now and again, thank you to all of our veterans. Mm-hmm. We appreciate you more than what we can say, in a 30-minute podcast. And we really appreciate you. Thank you for all that you have done for our great country. I want to talk about one more thing, and that is a vision for a healthier America. You mentioned earlier, you talked about, us white men, and then you picked on me about my Oreo cookies, which I do like Oreo cookies, right?
Same. I do too, just so you know.
And so
I dip them in raw milk, though.
so I get Red Top milk, and I drink probably, don't shoot me on this, but I probably drink a gallon of sweet tea a day, give or take, and I drink at least a gallon of milk every 2 or 3 days. And so, but every night before I go to bed, I'll have a coffee cup, and I'll put Red Top milk in, and I'll eat at least a row of Oreos, which is about 10 to 12 Oreo cookies, depending on the size of the bag that you get. And so, I mean, they're just so good. And so, and I know that I shouldn't be eating all those things, if I want to remain healthier and live long. And so I've got to work on a few things whenever it comes to my health. But what are some things, and you mentioned several already, but America, we do have a problem with obesity in America. And we do have a problem with being overweight. I've said this many times. I'm a preacher, and I pastor a church. And there's a lot of pastors, a lot of preachers that are overweight. Mm-hmm. They're up preaching on gossip, but yet they weigh 400 pounds. And it's not because they have a health issue, it's because they have an eating issue. And so, and it's because of glutton and things like that. Glutton is just as sinful as gossip or some of these other things. And I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just stating facts. And so don't get mad at me, get mad at the Bible. It says it in there somewhere. It talks about gluttony somewhere in there. And do a Google research and you can find it real quick, or ask Siri. And she'll tell you. But we've got to do a better job of being healthier. We have to do a better job. I think a lot of people, whenever it comes to back pain, when it comes to knee pain, listen, I don't have my doctorate degree in medicine or in health, but I mean, common sense is common sense. I mean, if you're 350, 400 pounds, it's a whole lot more pressure on your knees and on your back than if you're the weight that you should be. And so it really helps your body. It helps your heart pumping that blood and your kidneys and your liver and all of those things. It helps whenever you're healthier. And so I've even started trying to be healthier by walking a little bit, by doing a little bit of exercise, a little bit of weights. I have cut down on some of the tea that I'm drinking. That's why I'm only at about a gallon a day, and that's why I have cut down on some of the Red Top milk, trying to be healthier.
Drink milk. Look, people have demonized milk for a long time. Let's just not homogenize and pasteurize everything. Like, what's wrong with raw milk? Let's get back to raw milk. I have a shirt. Actually, I didn't wear it today. But make milk raw again. I think RFK is going to make it legal in all 50 states. That's the talk of the town. I don't know, but I'm hoping.
Well,
for the best.
I'm not sure if Red Top milk is raw milk.
No, it's not raw milk, but it's got fat in it. That's what they didn't skim the fat off the top.
Well,
so it's better than skim milk probably, but still pasteurized. You need to get. Hey, we got some cows out there. We've got dairy. We've got dairy cows. We just need to milk them.
Yeah, well, I'll leave that up to your mom.
I'll let her do
that. Listen, as long as Walmart is selling milk, I'm gonna keep buying my milk from there. At least.
Hey, but you never know. I mean, it would be hard. It would be hard to imagine Walmart selling raw milk, but RFK. I mean, that's what we're hearing. So that he might make it raw again. So.
So maybe list 2 or 3 things that you really would like to see, and I know we've covered a lot of things, but maybe list 2 or 3 things that you would like to see Kennedy do, and Kennedy do quickly. Donald Trump's going to tap him to be over the health. Name 2 or 3 things that you would like to see him do right off the top of the bat.
Right off the top of my head would be to basically take away the conflict of interest between these companies, like Ozempic, for instance. They are funding our public school lunches, okay? So there should not be personal interest from these companies that are actually they have their foot or their hands in what we're eating. Okay. So the conflict of interest has to go away. Like that's just 100%. The people that are involved in the FDA, okay, also being on the board with what Kellogg or Dannon or all these people that they're all interconnected, okay? So I think the conflict of interest immediately has to go away. The biggest thing that I would like to see him remove from our food, if it was possible, would be glyphosate. I mean, it's an herbicide that they're spraying on all of our wheat, all of our vegetables, okay? So people talk about raw milk. We made jokes about it, how, you know, you can get whatever, you can get diseases or bacteria or whatever. Because we're trying to live in a completely sterile environment. That's not okay. We shouldn't be trying to live in a completely sterile environment. So what they're doing is spraying this herbicide all over these vegetables. It's more likely that you're probably going to get listeria from lettuce at this point than that you're going to get some sort of, you know, bacterial infection or whatever from drinking raw milk. So I would love to see him remove glyphosate, just because 93% of the school lunches that have been tested have glyphosate on them. 100% of the fast food restaurants that we're eating from have glyphosate. Okay. So, contraceptives found in our school lunches and at fast food restaurants that you go to every single day. So I would love for him to be able to remove that, or even like some of the preservatives or hormones from that. But the most important thing I would think for him is to be able to get in there and clean house of all these people that are corrupt, and just overall transparency with vaccines. I mean, absolutely 100% there needs to be transparency. These documents need to be more readily provided. And from the pediatricians or doctors that are working here, they should not be incentivized to sell drugs. I mean, they might not be getting a paycheck from that, but they are 100% getting, there's incentives there for them to sell drugs to us. So I feel like the same people that are making us fat are also selling us drugs. So I think that there's definitely a conflict of interest there. I would love to see him to remove that completely. So.
Well, you gave him a list, and that's a lot of
that's
a lot.
a big job. He said it was going to take at least 2 years to start cleaning house. So
yeah, well, I'm hoping he does.
Yeah,
I'm
me
hoping he
too.
gets in there and cleans
and
house.
I hope people that are in the middle could see the difference.
Yeah,
Like,
I
see
think
the
they will.
difference in our health. So
I think they will. Well, Julianne, thanks for joining me today.
yeah,
Thanks for
having me.
coming on, God and Country, and I
You
really
gotta give me
appreciate
that
it.
hat, though. I want that hat, that Donald Trump hat.
So,
He signed it. I want it.
so the Donald Trump hat, "Make America Great Again," is autographed by President-elect Donald J. Trump.
I'm not getting that one, so it's okay.
And that hat is not going anywhere, and so it's going to stay with me, and it'll get passed down to
Someone else in the family. Someone else more important.
like
One of
Quitman,
his kids, yeah.
your nephew.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll concede.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in on God and Country. Appreciate it. If you don't mind, share, and of course, subscribe to us on YouTube, on Twitter, and it really helps us. So once again, thank you to our veterans. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all that you're doing to make America great again. And we appreciate you very much. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. God bless you. And may God continue to bless the great United States of America.